You buy groceries, there are taxes on them. You buy clothes, there are taxes on them. You enter Uber, you are paying tax. Heck, you breathe in and you breathe out, you're paying taxes. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mide TKH, short for Mide the King's Herald. And I recently just moved from England all the way to Canada, and today I'm going to be talking to you about some of my biggest culture shocks as a Nigerian who was living in England and has now moved to Canada. Just so you know, this video is for bantering and joking purposes only. Don't take anything I take here very seriously. Well, everything I'm going to say here are truths from my own POV, but like, don't take anything I say here seriously or personal, because I know some UK people will probably come for me, or some Canadians will probably come for me in the comments. I'm going to delete and block you.
I still know how to get hood.
Okay, so let's get right into it. My first culture shock was from the minute I landed and I walked through immigration. So basically, I came in as a permanent resident and I had this COPR document. The COPR document is like a confirmation of permanent residency. So I took that document off to immigration, and the man just, did some things, blah, blah, blah. He was checking the screen, and then he wrote today's date down on the document. And I was like, what is this? The way they write their dates here is so confusing. So in England, we have the day, month and year formats, but here in Canada it is the month, day and year. And I'm not gonna lie, it can be so confusing, especially in the single digits month, from like January to September, like the months where you have single digits. It can be very confusing because you mix up like the day of the month with the month of the year, and it really confused me. And to be fair, like to an extent, to a considerable extent, you can say they're correct, because if you think about it, like if you ask me what my birthday is, I'll say October 16th. I would never say 16th of October, would I? I don't think so. I've always just called my birthday October 16th. So like if you decide to write my birth date the way I would literally say it, it would actually be month, day, then year. So they are technically correct to an extent, but it's just confusing to have. Yeah, I don't know. It's just confusing because if I was going to write dates in full too, I would write January 16th, blah, blah, blah. It's just, yeah, so I think that was like my first culture shock. Like, whoa, this is how they write their dates. Confusing much. The second would definitely be the size of this country. Canada is massive. For context, I came from England. And when I was in England, I lived in Birmingham and I worked in London. So you can kind of imagine why it is shocking to me to come all the way from my not so little Birmingham, because if you think about it, Birmingham was actually one of the biggest cities in England. But coming from Birmingham and moving to Toronto, the size of this place, it is massive. Like the roads are wide, they are large. It's like Canada is a massive country. And from research, apparently, I found that Canada is the second biggest country in the world in terms of landmass. The first is actually Russia. So that's to tell you that this country is massive. Like it is massive. And the crazy thing is, considering how massive it is, you would expect the population to be so much more, but it doesn't have as much a population as the United Kingdom that is much smaller than it. It's so crazy. But yet Canada is massive, and you kind of see that in everywhere you go, like the roads being so big, everything is much bigger. And yeah, that really did surprise me. Like I stopped feeling so congested, especially on the road. I'm somebody that has motion sickness. It's like my biggest struggle, in life, because I have to commute a lot for work, and yeah, it's a lot. But like I noticed that since I got to Canada, yeah, the motion sickness didn't disappear, but I stopped feeling as congested, like as tight, claustrophobic. And I think that's really, really beautiful. So yeah, and the sizes of the buildings, like when you look at complexes, I remember driving through downtown, seeing the CN Tower, all of the beautiful, beautiful parts of Toronto. And I'm just like, whoa, this city is massive. And apparently I heard that it is even bigger and prettier in some other cities and other provinces like Vancouver, Alberta, and all of those other places. So to be honest, I really like how big, Canada is. Like, it feels like your mind is just expanded when you step into how massive this country is. And that for me is so, so beautiful. And that takes me to my next culture shock, which I think is probably my favorite thing about Canada. It would be how big the houses are. Yo, the houses are massive, and I'm not even joking. Like, there is so much space. The houses in the UK, and I'm not even trying to be disrespectful or anything, are like shoe boxes, very tiny, very tight, very congested. Whereas in Canada, the houses are massive. Like, there's just so much space. Like, my apartment makes me happy. Every day I wake up and I look at this apartment, I'm like, God, thank you, because there's just so much space. Like, it's not tight, it's not choked up. And you think about it, like, you are actually getting value for what you pay for. I stay in Toronto. Toronto is like a pretty expensive city. Like, I want to say Toronto is like the London of Canada, it would be fair to say so, considering how similar they are in terms of, how much it is, how much of a creative hub it is, how expensive it is, how it is like the city of opportunities for a lot of young people. But I would say that considering how packed and congested and overpopulated Toronto ideally is, the houses are still massive. Like there's still so much space. And before you come from me and be like, oh, go to other cities in Canada, there's much more space. Hey, I came from England. As a matter of fact, I came from Birmingham where there was more space than London, and I can categorically tell you this. The houses in Canada are much bigger in comparison to the houses in England. And I genuinely love that because it is so, so good for your living conditions. Like, you don't realize how much your living condition actually affects your mind, your mental health, your sanity, and every other area of your life. So yeah, I definitely love, like, if I were to pick between the housing style, situation, sizes in England versus Canada, you already know what my choice would be. Definitely Canada, because yeah, the sizes of the apartments in this place, they are massive. Currently in Toronto, I pay more than I would have spent on rent when I was in England. And I don't mind because it feels like I'm getting value for what I'm paying for. Like, don't get me wrong, my rent is not cheap. But like my current apartment is such a steal, especially for the price. Like every person that has seen this apartment will be like, girl, you lucked out. Like God really, really loves you. You're one of God's favorite because this apartment at this cost is incredible. So yeah, definitely love that about Canada and just Toronto as a whole. My next culture shock is also how friendly, polite, and warm people are. Like this is not to like hate on UK people, but it just feels like everybody was always so like
I come from things that's a little bit rougher, a little bit more, just a different tone.
Like, and I used to feel so anxious. Like, I'm somebody that has struggled with anxiety in and out in my life. And I can confidently tell you this, Canada and Canadians, they've calmed my anxiety a lot. The average Canadian is so friendly, so polite, so warm. Like, I used to feel so anxious in the UK. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just always used to expect people to be racist to me because I had encountered it way too many times, like the racism way too many times. Like they might not even say it out. UK people might not even pronounce the racism, but like you will see it. And it's not that there are not nice people in the United Kingdom. Gosh, there are amazing people in the United Kingdom. I've met a lot of them. A lot of them are my friends. A lot of them have been my co-workers. A lot of them I've done business with. But I can categorically tell you this, Canadians, they are warmer, they are kinder, they are friendlier. I've not had one bad experience with a Canadian, and I might be speaking too early or too soon, but like yeah, I've not had one bad experience with a Canadian, and that's to tell you a lot about the system. Like everybody's so nice, everybody's so friendly, everybody's so polite, and I just really love that about Canada. Like it just eases the tension for people like us that we get anxious very easily. It just eases all of the tension. And I think that also takes me to my next culture shock is how laid back people are in Canada. Like they can't be asked to stress. You cannot force stress out of the average Canadian. They're so laid back. Like back in the United Kingdom, especially for somebody like me who worked in London, one very evident thing was how fast paced the lifestyle was there. Like every day I would go to London, I would be feeling so sad, so heavy, so exhausted, but still very anxious because everybody's walking so fast, trying to jump trains, get on the tube, all of those things. And I used to feel so tensed. But here, like, everybody's so chill. Everybody's so laid back. Like, even to get on the bus, like, I'm not stressing. And this is me that I stay in Toronto. Toronto is supposed to be one of, like, the most overpopulated and congested cities. But like everybody's still so calm. And I'm just saying, like, what did you guys actually mean? Because yeah, I came from Birmingham and London, babes. Like it was crazy over there.
The ghetto.
It was crazy over there. But here in Toronto, everybody is, I don't know, it seems a lot calmer, a lot more laid back. Like people just can't be asked to stress. And I think that's really beautiful. Like this feels like a healthy environment to thrive in because you cannot afford to always be anxious or on edge. It's so unhealthy for you. Like you're not going to be productive. Which brings me to my next culture shock. Gosh, the transport system here in Canada is rubbish. And I think that is like the number one con of Canada. The public transport system is rubbish. I'm so sorry, like the buses don't come frequently. And even if they do, like they're often delayed. If you're in Canada, you need to understand that having a car is not a luxury, it's actually a necessity. Like it feels like all the years of refusing to learn how to drive when God had been telling me to learn how to drive have finally caught up with me. Like, it's so crazy. If you're coming to Canada, if you intend to relocate to Canada, just go and learn how to drive. Heck, get your license and start working towards it. Or be ready to spend a good amount of money on Ubers. Because, yeah, it is so hard to get around Canada without knowing how to drive or having a car. Like, it's a necessity. Canada is not particularly optimized for mobility or ease of movement in comparison to the UK, where there are buses everywhere, there are tubes and trains everywhere. I feel like the UK probably has one of the best, if not the best, transportation system in the world. Like, that is one thing I will give the UK. The transportation system and ease of mobility, like, it's incredible. And that brings me to like my next culture shock, which is also such a con in this environment, is how everywhere is so far from everywhere. Like, Canada is massive, so all the places are far from everywhere. Like, averagely, it takes me like a good 20 to 25 minutes to get to church. While I was in the UK, church to my house was like 10-15 minutes at best. Like, and this is by car. Like, if I want to get a bus from here to church, I need to budget at least 1 hour 10 to 1 hour 20 minutes. And honey, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. So if you're somebody who your way of life or your work will require you like being out of the house more often or frequently, I would say you definitely need to get yourself a car. I think what is really helping me right now is because, currently, like, my work requires me to be at home most of the time. Most of my work is working from home. I mean, I've had to be going out a lot more frequently of late, which honestly hasn't been easy, and I'm really starting to feel it. So if you're coming to Canada, babes, just get yourself a car and also get yourself your license for ease of access, because I will tell you this, Canada is not optimized for movement, full stop. The next culture shock is how massive food portions and groceries are. Like, babes, everything is bigger here. Like, I feel like the ease of access to food in Canada is concerning and, frankly speaking, dangerous, because if you're not careful and you don't make intentional healthy choices, you're gonna be obese. You're gonna be obese, overweight, diabetic. Like, I'm not joking. The ease of access to food is in surplus here. And it's not that they didn't have food in the UK, but it's just, in comparison to the UK, everything is bigger. All the portions are larger. Like, one of the mistakes I made when I first arrived, like my first grocery shopping, baby, all of the food portions and grocery portions were so massive that I was actually pleasantly shocked and surprised. Like, I was shopping like I was still in the United Kingdom. So like, I wanted to just stock up for the month because of how far everywhere is from everywhere. I didn't want to have to leave my house, especially to go and buy groceries, and like with the winter and everything. So I was buying double of everything. And when these food portions came, I was like, Jesus. Right now, I've been here for a bit of time, and when I tell you my freezer still full, like the portions of food that I bought to feed myself for a month, the way it is, it's looking like I would use them into like a whole month and a half, or probably even 2 months, because like I don't eat a lot. Like, maximum I eat in a day like twice or once. Most of the time I eat once a day, but like if I really feel like twice or thrice, and that thrice, in fact, I have to be really hungry. Maybe I'm ovulating or on my period. So it's like, yeah, food portions here are massive. So you need to be very careful and intentional about eating and leading a healthy lifestyle, or you're gonna get obese, point blank, period. My next culture shock is the fact that the sockets never turn on or off. Like, there are no switches on the sockets. You just plug in and that's it. I'm just here like, this is dangerous for clumsy babes like me, who some of us actually forget to unplug stuff. Like, it's very dangerous. But like, here in Canada, like, there are no switches to the sockets. You just plug in and that's it. And I found that very interesting, because yeah, what sort of faulty design is that? In the UK, like, once you switch off your sockets, even if you forget to unplug, you're good. So here in Canada, you want to be extra attentive. Be sure to unplug your devices, because the sockets never go off. Like, once you plug in, that's it. Another very important culture shock, which is probably my biggest culture shock, would be the taxes on every freaking thing. You buy groceries, there are taxes on them. You buy clothes, there are taxes on them. You enter Uber, you are paying tax. Heck, you breathe in and you breathe out, you're paying taxes. And before you come from me, yes, I know that we pay taxes on things in the UK, but like, I liked the way the UK system basically adds everything plus tax as your total. Here in Canada, you don't know what you are going to pay as tax until you're about to check out or you're at the till. And I think that's so crazy, because like, it kind of causes you to struggle with budgeting. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, in the UK, I know that if I take £50 to the store, I'm not going to buy more than £50. I can look at the prices of things and calculate and budget my way to £50. Whereas here in Canada, it's like, I have to mentally prepare to pay extra money on taxes, or I'm going to be in trouble. And I don't know if I really like that. I was talking to my mom and she was like, don't worry, you get used to it over time. So I possibly will get used to it over time. But I just think the tax system is, it's not really given. Like, I don't really like it. But yeah, the taxes actually really surprise me. And you pay taxes on every literal thing. I don't know if you pay taxes on rent. I don't know. But I know I've had to pay taxes even on my insurance, like every single thing, which brings me to another culture shock. Like, in terms of like the housing system, babes. you need to have Canadian credit history. You need to have Canadian credit history, and you need to have a Canadian employer, or nobody's going to give you a place to stay. And now that I think about it, I don't know if it's the same system in England. To be fair, I moved to England like 6 years ago, 6 years plus ago, and I moved as a student, and I didn't have to deal with all of this stress, getting student accommodation. My university just gave me accommodation because, hey, international students, you have the money, we give you the place. When I was eventually going to get my own place, even after graduation, I didn't have to struggle with providing, British employer, British credit report. Like, they didn't care as long as I was able to pay my holding deposits and, pay my rent. But here in Canada, they are quite strict, especially Toronto, they are quite strict. It's very strict up in here. So you want to actually take that into consideration. If you don't have Canadian credit history or a Canadian employer, be ready to pay at least 6 months upfront in your rent. That's if you even find a landlord that would be willing to take you. And I find their housing system interesting because you don't have to pay holding deposits for anything. You just pay your first month's rent and your last month's rent. However, you have to keep paying monthly insurance. And I don't know if that is better or worse than the UK. I think it's probably worse because, from what I know, I don't know if that insurance is refundable. I might be wrong. I have to research that. But in the UK, your holding deposit is refundable if you don't destroy anything in the house. So I really do like that system. It's better. Like when I was living in England, I got my holding deposit back. However, here in Canada, I don't know if insurance is refundable. And that in itself is a culture shock to me. I have to pay insurance monthly. Crazy things. And then my next culture shock, the very evident one, obviously, is how harsh the winters are. I looked at my backyard and I sighed. The snow, it's intense. It's intense. Whatever you're seeing on TV or in videos or in pictures is not describing well enough the intensity of the snow, the winter, the harshness. It is incredibly cold, guys. It is chilling cold. I'm not joking. Every day I go out, I pray that I don't have frostbites because it is so cold. The winters are so harsh. But the beautiful thing about Canada is, as harsh as the winters are, I actually prefer it to the UK because winters in the UK usually so gloomy, so depressing. It feels like we're in a black or white movie. The winter depression I used to feel in the UK was insane. But I'm here in Canada, and as harsh as the winters are, I'm actually so productive. I'm so joyful. You can see how happy I am to be making this video. I'm doing all of these things in the winter and I'm not depressed. I'm not exhausted. That is a perk of living in Canada for you. The sun comes out in the winter. It is not gloomy or dark in the winter. I think the first ever time it became gloomy-ish was yesterday, and it was because it was really windy and it rained. And even when it rains too, it's not so gloomy. And I think that's something I really, really appreciate about Canadian winters. It can be quite, they can be quite harsh, but not gloomy and depressing. The UK, on the other hand, is not as harsh. I can go out in the winter and not feel like my fingers are about to fall off. However, the gloominess, the depression, me and vitamin D and iron supplements were like this. To be fair, I still take them in Canada. They've told us we have to keep taking it. Black people, you were not made for these foreign countries. From what we've been told, you need to keep taking your vitamin D and iron supplements and all the others if you want to stay healthy and sane. So yeah, that's definitely a culture shock for me. It's how harsh the winters are, but they are not as depressing as the United Kingdom. Whereas in the United Kingdom, the winters are not as harsh, but gosh, very depressing, very exhausting. Every day I'll wake up and I'll be feeling so sad. Nah, absolutely not. Which leads me to my next culture shock. Despite how harsh the winters are, how cold the winters are in Canada, Canadian houses are actually well insulated. I'm currently seated in my house and I don't have heating on and I'm not feeling cold. To be fair, I stayed in the Midlands. The Midlands are one of the coldest parts of England. I stayed in Birmingham. It's one of the coldest cities in England. Not the coldest, but one of the coldest. And I used to feel so cold. It used to feel like I was freezing. But here in Canada, I'm in Toronto, and I know that Toronto is not as cold as other cities in Canada, but it's pretty cold. As I'm speaking right now, I'll be looking outside the window because, hey, it is snowing. However, I'm in my house and this is all I have on. I don't have a jumper, nothing. The houses are well insulated. I don't have my heater on. My heater is literally on the floor here. I don't have it on. The houses are well insulated and I really love that because you're not spending too much on energy bills because you have to keep the heating on. Now, I don't know if this is the reality for everybody else, but this has been my experience. The houses are well insulated. You can sleep and not freeze to death. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. It's they know how to build houses for the kind of weather they have. I don't know if they paid much attention to that in England, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just so glad to be out of there. I'm sorry. UK people, I'm so sorry. Just know the UK will always have a special spot in my heart, but I had to leave. I had to leave. Which brings me to my next culture shock. It's definitely how much being in Canada, and frankly speaking, North America, and this is, beyond Canada, America, and all the other countries around it, really does expand your mind and gives you the courage to dream. I don't know what it is, but there was this exhausting spirit of small-mindedness in the UK where the system is literally set up and structured to only cause you to survive, get by, get a job, pay your bills, go to work, pay your bills, come back home, and the cycle repeats. Meanwhile, here in Canada, it feels like I can dream for the first time. It feels like, oh, I can aspire to much for the first time. When you walk down your streets in the UK and you see the houses, you're so depressed, like, what is this? But here in Canada, I'm seeing so many modern style houses, very new buildings, beautiful complexes. And in my head, I'm like, I have to hustle because one day I have to live in one of these kind of houses. I remember when I came and I went to pick up some of my stuff from a seller at Facebook Market and I saw our house. I was like, why is this woman even selling anything on Facebook Market? Because what a beautiful property. And as soon as I saw that, it felt like God was trying to tell me, babes, you see what you're seeing? You can aspire to that. You can aspire to more, okay? And it gave me so much joy just seeing how beautiful the houses are. People are just like, you can have ambition here. I don't know how to explain it. It might be a me thing, but when I was in the UK, it just felt like I was there to survive. Like, just work, pay my bills, deal with the stressful immigration system. Whereas here, I can aspire, I can dream. And to be honest, I'm not ignorant of the fact that because I entered here as a permanent resident, I have the luxury of dreaming much more. But I've heard a lot of people who even came in as students. You see how the government is so friendly to entrepreneurs, especially Toronto, very friendly to entrepreneurs. Like, it feels like in Canada, you can actually dream and aspire to do much more than just surviving. Like, you can actually aspire to thriving. And I think that's so beautiful. And that brings me to my next culture shock. Toronto especially is quite friendly to creatives. I think the North American creative and influencer market is much bigger, wider, and friendlier than the one in Europe. Like, when I was in England, to the glory of God, I actually did pretty good for myself. I got to work with a lot of brands that I could only have dreamt of working with, but that was because of, number one, the favor and the visibility of God, but also resilience. Like, I don't know how to put it, but it felt like the UK community and influencer space was very gate kept. Like, you see campaigns, and the campaigns were always within the same set of people. Whereas here in North America, especially Canada and America, people actually can dream and aspire to grow. Like, you can post your content and you are met with opportunities, which I think is so beautiful. So I think Canada and America, and I think the whole of North America, definitely have a bigger, creative market, creative space. If you're trying to move to Canada and you are a creative, definitely look into moving into somewhere like Toronto, because Toronto is like the creatives hub of the country. And if you're somebody who is also very big on film, I would say Calgary as well, because from the things I've seen, heard, and read, Calgary is growing very fast in terms of its film industry, its film and TV industry. And it has been projected that in the next 10 to 20 years, Calgary would actually be the TV and film hub of Canada. So if I were you, I would actually consider going to Calgary if you're into TV, film, and whatever. And I think the final culture shock would definitely be how far Canada is from everywhere. Oh my gosh, guys. The average flight from Canada to a holiday destination is at least 4 to 5 hours. Do you know how depressing that is? If there's anything I really, really will miss about the UK, is how close the UK was to everywhere, or the UK is to everywhere. I'm going to Lagos for 30 December, 6 hours. If I need to go to Lagos from Canada, I need to enter a flight from Toronto to another country, and then from the other country to Lagos. And that really, really sucks. That's something I would definitely miss about the UK. Its proximity to holiday destinations. Bro, Albania is 3 hours away. Montenegro, another 2-3 hours away. There are so many holiday destinations. But here in Canada, everywhere is so far from here. And it sucks. I really miss the Schengen situation in England. How England was so close to all of the EU countries, and you could just go explore a lot of holiday places. If you're really a travel person, the UK is definitely a country for you. Whereas here in Canada, it's quite limiting. But the fact that it is close to America sort of compensates for that, because there are a lot of islands around America, so it's not so bad. And I don't know if that is enough compensation, but I definitely will miss that. And I think that brings me to another thing. You can see that the travel culture in England is much richer than here in Canada. People in England, one thing about them, they will book a holiday. One thing about a British person, they're going to book a holiday. Good Lord, when I went for my birthday trip, it was in October. October wasn't even peak holiday or travel season, but my goodness, my flight was packed, the hotel I was in packed, everywhere packed. And guess why? UK people were on holiday. One thing about the UK people, one thing about the Brits, they're going to book that trip, book that holiday. And I think it's just so crazy. But yeah, I'm definitely going to miss the rich travel culture in the UK as compared to Canada. But yeah, those are all the culture shocks I can think of right now. And that leads me to my next culture shock. You see the entire time of situation. If you're somebody who is working in 9 to 5, you're not in the UK again. No, the UK that they'll give you bank holidays, they'll give you paid leave and all of those things. Canada, you don't have as much paid leave. And this is not even just Canada, it's a North American thing. Like, you don't get a lot of time off the way you do in the UK. I think the most I've heard of from someone I know who worked in 9 to 5 was 20 days. I might be wrong. Again, I just arrived. Don't come for me. But yeah, they don't really do so much for paid leave here, and I think that really, really sucks. And then beyond that is the fact that, you don't get a lot of bank holidays or public holidays. Like, it's one thing I'll miss about the UK and Nigeria, because one thing about those two countries, they will give you a holiday. Nigeria and the UK will give you a holiday. Here in Canada, we don't have as much bank holidays. So far, I think I've only heard of Canada Day and I think Victoria Day. I can't remember. There might be more. Again, I just arrived. I'm still settling in. I still need to learn a lot about this environment. But in comparison to the UK starts and end of summer, we get bank holiday. Like, we used to get bank holiday standard. But here, all of that is gone. And that just tells you that you need to hustle. You need to put in the work, but still find time to rest. Anyways, I have come to the end of this video. So tell me, which of these culture shocks can you relate to? What would you say are tips you would give to me if you're in my situation trying to navigate a lot of these culture shocks? That's the end of my video for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms, Mide_TKH on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. Thank you for watching my videos, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.